It started like any other quiet night. I was alone in my apartment, the kind of solitude that usually felt comforting after a long day. The hum of the city outside was distant, muffled by thick curtains and double-paned windows. I had just settled into my favorite chair with a book, the soft glow of a lamp casting warm light across the room. The clock on the wall ticked steadily, marking the slow passage of time. Nothing seemed out of place. But that night, something was different. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on at first. I remember the feeling creeping up on me like a shadow stretching across the floor, subtle, almost imperceptible at first, but growing heavier with every passing minute. It was the sensation of being watched, not by a person, not by a neighbor or a passerby, but by something else. Something that didn't belong in the realm of the living. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just my imagination running wild. After all, I'd been working late, and my mind was probably playing tricks on me. But the feeling persisted, gnawing at the edges of my consciousness. I glanced around the room, half expecting to see a pair of eyes staring back at me from the shadows. But there was nothing, just the familiar furniture, the quiet hum of the refrigerator, and the soft ticking of the clock. Then, the first strange sound, a faint tapping, like fingernails lightly drumming on glass. I froze, heart pounding. The sound came again, this time from the window nearest to me. I slowly turned my head, eyes scanning the dark pane. Outside, the street was empty, bathed in the pale light of a street lamp. No one was there, no movement, just the cold, still night. I told myself it was probably a branch brushing against the glass, or maybe a bird settling on the windowsill. But deep down, I knew it wasn't that simple. The tapping continued intermittently, always soft, always deliberate. It wasn't random noise. It was a message, a warning. I stood up, my legs shaky, and moved toward the window. The air felt colder here, as if the warmth of the room was being sucked out by some unseen force. I pressed my palm against the glass, trying to steady my breathing. The tapping stopped. Silence returned, thick and suffocating. That's when I noticed it. A faint outline, barely visible in the darkness beyond the window. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, a shadow cast by a passing car or a flickering street lamp. But no, this was different. It was a figure, tall, thin, and impossibly still. It didn't move like a person. It didn't breathe or blink. It just stood there, watching. I blinked hard, hoping to clear my vision. When I looked again, the figure was gone. The street was empty once more. I told myself it was a hallucination, a product of exhaustion and stress. But the unease lingered, settling deep in my bones. I retreated from the window and locked it, double-checking the latch. The door was already locked, but I bolted it again just to be sure. I turned off the lights, plunging the room into darkness. The only illumination came from the faint glow of my phone screen. I sat back down trying to focus on my book, but the words blurred together. My mind was elsewhere, replaying the image of that figure over and over. Who or what was it? Why was it watching me? Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Time lost meaning in the oppressive silence. Then the tapping returned. This time, from the other window, I didn't dare look. Instead, I grabbed my phone and dialed a friend's number, my fingers trembling. "Hey," I whispered when they answered. "I don't know if you're awake, but I think someone's outside my apartment." Or something. There was a pause on the other end. "Are you sure? Maybe it's just an animal or something." "No," I said firmly. "It's not normal." I can feel it. It's watching me. My friend tried to reassure me, but I could hear the skepticism in their voice. I ended the call quickly, not wanting to sound crazy. I needed to figure this out on my own. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and crept toward the door. The hallway outside was pitch black, the building eerily silent. I stepped out cautiously, shining the beam down the corridor. No one, no movement, just the faint hum of the building's ventilation system. I made my way to the stairwell, flashlight in hand, heart racing. I wanted to check the front door to see if anyone was lurking outside. As I reached the bottom of the stairs, I heard it again, the tapping. This time, it was coming from the front door itself. I shone the light on the door, and there it was, a series of small, deliberate knocks, spaced evenly apart. Someone was trying to communicate, or maybe just trying to scare me. I called out, my voice shaking, "Who's there?" No answer, just the tapping continued, growing louder, more insistent. I backed away slowly, my mind racing. I wanted to run to get out of there, but something held me in place, a mix of fear and curiosity, a need to understand what was happening. Suddenly, the tapping stopped. The silence was deafening. Then, a whisper, so faint I almost didn't hear it. It came from right behind me. "Leave!" I spun around, flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. No one, just the empty hallway. I didn't wait to hear more. I ran back up the stairs, locked the door behind me, and bolted it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the flashlight. I sat down on the floor, back against the door, trying to calm my racing heart. What was happening? Was I losing my mind? I pulled out my phone again and started searching online for anything similar, stories of people being watched, haunted apartments, unexplained phenomena. The more I read, the more I realized I wasn't alone. Others had experienced the same feeling, the same presence, but none of the stories prepared me for what came next. Around midnight, the power went out. The entire building plunged into darkness. My phone's flashlight was the only source of light. I heard footsteps outside my door. Slow, deliberate, not human footsteps, but something heavier, more ominous. The door handle rattled. Someone or something was trying to get in. I grabbed a kitchen knife, my only weapon, and pressed myself against the wall, trying to make myself as small and quiet as possible. The door shook violently, then stopped. Silence again. Minutes passed. Then a low growl like an animal, but distorted, unnatural. I closed my eyes, trying to steady my breathing. When I opened them, the flashlight flickered and died. I was plunged into complete darkness. I don't remember how long I sat there, frozen, waiting for whatever was outside to leave. Eventually, the power came back on and the building's lights flickered back to life. I cautiously opened the door. No one was there, but the feeling of being watched never left me.